The Raptors grind out a win against the New York Knicks, 90-87. I'm Randy Urban, and this is Raptors Night Cap. Tonight we're joined by Leo Rautins, Paul Jones, and Jack Armstrong. Fellas, another close game tonight. Leo, I'll start with you. What stood out to you in those last 2 minutes?
Same thing that stood out to me the whole game, defensive effort. I thought the Raptors just fought all game long. Nick Nurse has been saying that this is the way they got to play. They got to be aggressive. They got to be physical. And their defense allowed them to survive some droughts during the course of this game. But they finished strong. They finished aggressive. And, if they just hang on to that, you're going to have your struggles. You're going to have different things going on. You got players in, players out. When you play with that kind of intensity at the defensive end, you're going to win more games than you lose. And that's got to be their goal right now, to continue to find that effort.
Jonesy, my heart was racing on both those three-point attempts near the end. What about you?
Yeah, it was too. It was strangely, eerily similar to what happened with OKC. But, I'd love to piggyback on Leo's point about the defense. They hold the Knicks to 35%. I thought they did a really good job. To me, one of the keys was Julius Randle and how you handle him. He had a double-double, 13 and 14, but he only had 9 field goal attempts. I thought they did a good job of kind of keeping him under control, taking the ball out of his hands, making other guys beat you. And I thought Nick Nurse used the zone really, really effectively. When they gave up the 20-point lead at the end of the first half, they did a nice job. The zone helped them get the lead going to halftime. And then at the end of the game, too, when New York, they were up 7, about 2-3 minutes to go, New York comes back and ties it. Bang, Nick Nurse goes back to the zone. And, they survived it. So I give him credit, and I give their defensive execution a lot of credit, too.
Well, Jack, Coach Nurse wanted more effort. He got it in that first quarter. How were the Raptors able to make their mark early and kind of set the tone in this one?
Oh, I just thought there was incredible multiple effort, just guys all over the place, pressure on the ball, help, the rotations, the recovery, going to get it on the glass, getting a running game going early. I thought they set the tone, like this is how we're going to play. This is who we are tonight. And I thought they did a great job with that. So, and that's how they have to play. When you come into a game missing OG Anunoby, Kem Birch, and Precious Achiuwa, and you look at how the Raptors won at the Garden back on November 1st. Birch and Anunoby were awesome in that game. So you're missing a decent amount there. And so you really needed to have a lot going on. And plus, the Raptors second unit is struggling right now because they're being put in a position where maybe they have to do a little too much. And so you got to rely on your defense to generate easy scores. But, as much as we talk about the Raptors did a good job on Randle, the Knicks are gearing their defense towards making it difficult for a Pascal Siakam or Van Vliet. That's why you need that third scorer. And that's why a guy like Trent tonight was so big. He had 9 fourth-quarter points, and that was huge. But I give Siakam credit. He scuffled tonight in terms of his shooting percentage, but he still made big plays and big assists. And Van Vliet, my goodness, he's just a phenomenal defensive player. He made a great play late in the game, slapping down on a guy like Randle as he drove to the basket on his left hand. He's just so well-schooled. He's in the right place at the right time.
Hey, guys, can we talk about the rookie? How good he is playing. Like tonight was just a superlative effort. He ends the game with 15 rebounds. How many of those on the offensive end led to open looks? He takes the ball down in tall timber under the basket, and your nature says, put it back, get the foul, force it back. No, he's kicking it out to guys for open threes. And then some of the passes he made, out of the double teams, the defense coming over as a help defender, second man off the floor when the first guy has the offensive player engaged to get blocks. There was one sequence where he defended R.J. Barrett on a drive in front of the Raptors bench and forced the miss. The ball ended up with Obi Toppin, who came along the baseline from the far side, and he got a piece of that one too. I just love this kid's game. It just continues to get better every single day.
Yeah, lots of positives in this one. Trent was great, as Jack mentioned, and Barnes, as Jonesy mentioned. But Leo, I want to just quickly break down the second quarter a little bit. Raptors were up by 20 there in the first. What's happening in that second quarter? How do they avoid some of these lulls?
Well, I mean, think about it. What was happening in the first half? New York bench outscored the Raptors bench 24-4, right? So, why is that happening? Well, now the Raptors got bench guys getting key minutes, playing, starting. Then you have guys coming in and have expanded roles, right? And people forget about that you're putting guys in not only roles of more minutes, but roles of maybe discomfort, right? You're asking players to maybe do things a little bit more, take more shots, just make different plays. And not everybody's, going to respond in the same way. So, the Raptors bench struggles were a big part of that second quarter. And then, I mentioned it during the broadcast. That's where, Gary Trent had a strong finish to the game and a strong start to the game. You don't want to forget about a guy like that. You want to get him in a game and get him his looks. Because, Nick Nurse made the point a while ago that, Gary Trent, I don't think he's even close to his potential yet offensively. Mm-hmm. The kid can score. The kid creates shots. He plays off his teammates. That's a guy that, when things are getting a little dry, find him. And I find a lot of times, he'll be looking for his offense, and all of a sudden he's just not seeing the ball. There were a couple times, not necessarily the second quarter, but there were a couple times where, he's playing well. All of a sudden, somebody else takes a shot. He's right there. Mm-hmm. And they come down again. Somebody else takes a shot. He's right there. But you can't forget about him. Like you gotta realize that this is a guy that can get you buckets, and you'll get yours. But right now, make sure he gets his. I think it's really important.
Yeah, and Jack, it reminds me of something. This might sound funny, but he's a shot maker. And the Raptors need that from somebody. And he's 22 years old, and Leo's right. Like the potential is, in my mind, limitless with this kid right now.
Oh, there's a lot of it. And, I mentioned from a scoring perspective, he does it in all the phases. He can shoot the floor from deep. He can get his own shot in the mid-range, create off the bounce, and he can score at the rim. So he's not a guy, he's not a one-trick pony. I mean, he's a good catch and shoot guy. He's got creativity off the bounce. He can play off of penetration and drift to the open spot and catch and make shots. And I thought, Leo made a good point. He does it right within everything you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And Jonesy said it too. I'm like, he's good. He's a legitimate player. And I agree with Leo. He hasn't really gotten to his true potential yet. You watch a guy in Portland and you see one thing, and then you watch, and I think sometimes when you play with respectfully to Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, you don't know when your shots are coming, and you kind of get a little, you press a lot, and maybe you get a little anxious and thirsty, and maybe sometimes you kind of force things. I think he trusts who he's playing with, and I think he kind of lets the game come to him and breathe. And at the same time, he knows when to assert himself, and he's a pretty good player at the back end of the shot clock, too. He's a pretty confident guy, and we've talked about it already. He's a good defensive player, too.
Jonesy, Siakam struggled with his shot tonight, but I've noticed that when he doesn't have it going offensively, he's really trying to do other things. He had the rebounds tonight, but also his court vision, I think, and his passing is much improved.
Well, and Nick's always said that when you draw two guys, you've done your job. Make the simple pass. You don't have to make the home run pass. And Pascal's doing that, especially in the middle of the floor. When he has a middle of the floor attack and they collapse on him, and he's, free throw line and things get stopped up and he doesn't have an open look, he gives it up. Now the defense has really got to scramble. So for him, it's just continuing to do that. Be aggressive, attack. And if you don't get something for you, you're going to get something for your teammates. And I thought the Raptors did a nice job of moving the ball tonight. We talked about Gary Trent and the stuff that he got from other people. Some of that was from Pascal. Some of that was good looks because, Pascal initiated move the ball, and it found its way to Gary Trent, who, I mean, you know, Leo and Jack have both talked about it. This kid doesn't take bad shots. He takes it within the framework and the scope of the offense, and you know, he's not forcing shots. He doesn't take bad off balance shot. He just understands how to play. And I'll go back to where I started. I think Pascal was at the front end of a lot of that.
I'll ask all of you guys real quick this question, because we've talked about everybody. So, you know, so what glowingly at times tonight. Leo, who's the most valuable performance tonight? If you had to pick one.
You know what? Hey, that's a tough one. I mean, like I said, you know, Gary Trent did great things. I think Fred really was Fred when he had to be Fred.
I tell you who we didn't talk about, Leo. I tell you who we didn't talk about, and I think he continues to simplify his game and play well, is Chris Boucher. A couple games in a row now.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, well, we can't pick everybody.
Right.
This is we can't pick everybody.
You know, but again, like just, you know, here's, you know what, you know who the MVP was? The team. Because and you know, one guy is not winning. You know, a spotty defensive effort is not winning. They got a great effort from a lot of guys, and they got a tough win at home, which they needed. So I'm giving it to a team. I'm not big on the individual one.
Jack, you got a quick one?
Well, I'll just say this. It was nice to see Mihailuk bounce back tonight. Made a few shots. And how about that block on Robinson at the rim?
Hey, that sounds like a team to me. Isn't that a team? Yeah, there we go.
I agree with you. No, I mean, it's just nice to see him get back because
I agree.
You know, they're searching for points right now. And they need their second unit guys to make plays. So I thought that was helpful tonight.
All right, we'll just do one overtime question for the people at home. I want to talk really quickly about Kemba Walker because he is one of my favorite people that I've ever come across in the NBA. I interviewed him in his first year. I interviewed him in his second year. And then I saw him in Africa, and he was just so welcoming when he saw me there. And I just thought that was just a really nice moment. And he just seems like a great guy. Does he have serviceable games left in him, Leo?
I'm sure he does, but, you know, define serviceable. I mean, what does Tom Thibodeau want? Is he giving him what he wants? Is he fitting into what they want to do? So you can be serviceable, but it may not be in New York, right? Because right now, or you know what? You know, this league, I mean, you may not be playing in November, December. All of a sudden, you know, you're playing in January and February. And, you know, he's had a history of, you know, injuries. His knees have been a problem. So, you know, who knows what the big picture plan is, but is he serviceable? Absolutely.
Jonesy, I just love how he's still being a mentor to these younger guys.
For
right?
sure.
And
he's a professional. He's a professional, and he understands. And he's not, as Leo said, he could be playing at any time. He's not going to hang his head. He's part of the team. He's going to push the guy in front of him to be better, and that sharpens him as well. And if he can stay healthy, he's a guy that can come up big for you. So, you know, as I said, going back to it all, he's a professional. He's going to stay ready.
Impactful at all anymore, Jack?
I think he can be. You know, why not? And, you know, he's always been clutch. You know, you go back to his time at UConn and obviously his career as a pro. He's always been that clutch guy. So I think as the games get a little bit more important and more valuable and things go the way they're going right now, I wouldn't be shocked if they reconsider and throw him back in there again.
All right, guys, good stuff as always. I appreciate you doing this. Next game for the Raptors, Monday night, still at home at Scotiabank Arena, this time against the Sacramento Kings. Tip-off goes 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you then.